Ready for a deep dive. One that might make you rethink a few things.
Always up for a challenge.
Good. Today, we're going to Brazil to explore the world of race and humor, especially how they collide on social media.
Yeah, it's a fascinating and often uncomfortable topic, and we'll be using No Laughing Matter by Luis Valerio P. Trindade as our guide.
Right. He really gets into how Black women in Brazil experience and resist racism online.
He does.
It's all happening against this backdrop of what people call Brazil's racial democracy,
Right.
which, as we'll see, isn't quite the full picture.
No, not at all. The book traces this idea back to a 1933 book called The Masters and the Slaves by Gilberto Frere.
Okay.
And he kind of romanticized the relationship between enslaved people and their enslavers, creating this image of racial harmony.
But obviously that leaves out a lot of the brutal reality of slavery, right?
Of course, yeah.
It's like trying to put a happy face on a really dark history.
Exactly. Frere's critics point out that he basically glossed over the very real racial inequalities that continued long after slavery ended. And the book highlights the work of sociologist Florestan Fernandes, who really challenged Frere's narrative
Okay.
and exposed the deep-rooted prejudice and discrimination that Black Brazilians faced and still face today.
So it's not as simple as just saying that Brazil is a racial democracy.
No.
There's a much more complicated system at play here.
Definitely.
And I think that's where the idea of racial hierarchy comes in, right?
Yes, and Trindade argues that this hierarchy subtly impacts everyday life and opportunities in Brazil. And the book shows how even seemingly neutral terms like moreno can be used to sidestep talking about Blackness directly.
It's like tiptoeing around a giant elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And by not calling out racism directly, they're actually allowing it to thrive.
Absolutely.
It's almost like people are trying to pretend that race isn't an issue.
Yeah.
But by doing that, they're just reinforcing those existing power dynamics. And you can't talk about this hierarchy without looking at how it intersects with gender and class.
Right.
That creates a particularly tough situation for Black women in Brazil.
Absolutely. The book gives some stark examples. For instance, the maternal mortality rate for Black women is significantly higher than for white women. It's a clear indicator of how these interlocking systems of oppression impact their lives.
Speaking of systems, it's fascinating how even things like football, which is so celebrated in Brazil, can be tangled up in racial dynamics.
Right.
Like, how does that play out?
But football is a huge part of Brazilian national identity, but it's also been a space where racial issues have played out.
Okay.
The book tells the story of Arthur Friedenreich, this incredibly talented mixed-race player from the early 1900s. You see, even in a sport celebrated for its inclusivity, the pressure to conform to white beauty standards was immense. Friedenreich actually straightened his hair before every game to downplay his Black ancestry.
Wow. It's sad that someone so talented felt like he had to hide a part of himself just to be accepted. Did things change at all when football became more professional in the 1930s?
Well, there was some progress, for sure. More Black and mixed-race players started getting involved.
Right.
But if you look at the people in charge, the coaches, the managers, it was still mostly white folks calling the shots.
So while things might have looked more diverse on the field,
the
power behind the scenes remained pretty much the same.
Right.
And the book connects this back to the broader picture of how Brazil presents itself to the world, doesn't it?
Yes. The book talks about how images of white women were often used to represent Brazil's progress and modernity internationally.
Okay.
At the same time, mixed-race women were often portrayed in a more exoticized or fetishized way.
Right.
This further reinforces that racial hierarchy and limits the ways Black women are perceived and allowed to participate in society.
It's clear that Brazil's relationship with race is complex and full of contradictions. But one thing that shines through is this incredible history of Black resistance in the country.
Yes.
And the book takes us way back to the legendary Quilombo dos Palmares, right?
Yes.
What can you tell me about that?
Well, imagine this. A community of escaped slaves thriving for a century, right under the noses of their oppressors. That's Palmares. Talk about resilience.
It's amazing. A century of successful resistance. It shows just how strong and determined those who fought for their freedom were.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just Palmares. The book also talks about the abolitionist movement in the late 1800s and highlights the contributions of Black women like Louisa Mahine.
That's right. Louisa Mahine is a fascinating figure, and the book emphasizes her crucial role in fighting against slavery, even though there isn't much historical documentation about her.
Which is kind of its own story, right? The people who make history don't always get to write it.
Exactly. And the book really highlights how the Black press played a huge role in giving a voice to those who were often silenced. They challenged the dominant narrative about race and pushed for social change. It's a testament to the power of communication and storytelling.
And that legacy continues today, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the rise of organizations led by Black women who are fighting for equality.
Absolutely. These groups are building on the work of those who came before them, advocating for change, raising awareness, challenging the status quo. And that brings us to the wild world of social media.
Okay.
It's become the space where those historical struggles are playing out in entirely new ways.
Right.
The book argues that social media can be both a platform for racism and a tool for resistance, right?
It's almost like a digital battleground
Yeah.
where these opposing forces are constantly clashing.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in how the book unpacks that tension.
Okay, so that's where the concept of social distance comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Trindade argues that the relative anonymity of the internet can embolden people to say things they might not say to someone's face.
It's like the screen creates a sense of detachment.
Yeah.
It's easier to be hateful when you don't have to see the impact it has on another person.
Exactly. And the book cites a study
Okay.
that found that a shocking 97.6% of racial terms used on Brazilian social media were used in a discriminatory way. That's almost every single mention.
Wow. That's incredibly disheartening. It really highlights the dark side of social media.
Yeah.
How it can be used to spread hate and reinforce harmful stereotypes.
Right.
But it's not just about individual comments, right?
No.
The book also talks about how racist content can linger online for a long time.
Yeah, that's the long tail effect. Here's where it gets scary. You post something racist today, and it can come back to haunt you and others years later.
Wow.
That's the long tail effect, and it shows just how insidious online hate can be. It doesn't just disappear. It keeps circulating and reaching new audiences. And the book analyzes specific examples of racist jokes targeting Black women, doesn't it?
It does, and it's not pretty. What struck me is how these jokes are often used to limit the spaces Black women are allowed to occupy.
You're right. They often use humor to reinforce the idea that Black women shouldn't be seen in certain settings.
Okay.
Whether it's a fancy restaurant, a high-powered job, or even just enjoying a vacation. It's all about trying to put them back in their place, so to speak.
It's almost like these jokes are trying to make Black women invisible in certain parts of society. But thankfully, it's not all doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
The book also looks at how Black women are using social media to fight back and reclaim their own narratives.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, and one of the most visible and inspiring ways they're doing that is by embracing and celebrating their natural hair. It's become a symbol of identity and resistance.
I love that.
Like
It's about so much more than just hair.
Right.
It's about defining beauty on their own terms and rejecting those Eurocentric standards that have been imposed for so long.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, this is who we are, and we're beautiful.
Exactly. Social media has become this platform for them to share their stories, connect with each other, and build a movement. It's creating a space where Black women can feel seen, heard, and celebrated for who they truly are.
It sounds like it's about building a community
It is.
and finding strength in shared experiences,
Yeah.
which is really important because facing racism, online or offline, can be incredibly isolating.
You're right. One of the most powerful things about social media is that it allows people to break the silence and share their experiences. And when Black women share their stories about encountering racism, it challenges that myth of racial democracy and forces people to confront the reality of what's happening.
It's like shining a light on a problem that some people would rather pretend doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And it can be incredibly validating for other Black women to see their own experiences reflected in the stories of others.
You're right. It creates a sense of solidarity and helps to build a collective voice for change. And the book analyzes some of the specific strategies they're using to fight back against online racism, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's not just about calling people out. They're using a whole range of tactics, including reporting offensive content, pursuing legal action, and building counter-narratives that challenge the dominant racist discourse.
It's really about taking back control
Mm-hmm.
and refusing to let racist voices dominate the conversation. They're using all the tools at their disposal to fight for a more just and equitable online space.
That's powerful. And it shows just how resilient and creative these women are in the face of such adversity. So we've talked about the dark side of social media.
Yes.
How it can be used to spread hate and reinforce racist stereotypes. But No Laughing Matter also looks at how Black women are using those same platforms to fight back, to reclaim their narratives and to push for change.
They are.
And one of the things that really stood out to me in the book was how Trindade breaks down the actual mechanics of these racist jokes.
Right.
It's like he dissects them to show you exactly how they work.
He does.
What are some of the key things he points out?
Well, he talks about how the lack of face-to-face interaction on social media plays a huge role. He calls it social distance.
And he argues that when you don't actually know the person you're talking to, it's easier to make a joke that you wouldn't dream of saying to their face.
It's almost like you lose that sense of human connection, so it's easier to dehumanize the person on the other side of the screen.
Exactly. And Trindade found that in Brazil, the targets of these online attacks are often high-achieving Black women.
Okay.
Think journalists, doctors, actresses, women who have broken barriers and defied expectations.
So it's not just random attacks.
No.
It's almost like there's this deliberate attempt to put these successful women back in their place, to remind them that they don't belong in positions of power or influence.
That's a key point.
Yeah.
These jokes are often about undermining their achievements.
Yeah.
And reinforcing the idea that Black women shouldn't aspire to certain roles in society. It's a way to maintain that racial hierarchy we were talking about earlier.
And these jokes aren't just one-off things, right?
Right.
The book talks about how they can circulate online for years, constantly being shared and reaching new audiences. Yes, that's the scary part. It's like this never-ending echo chamber of hate. Trindade calls it the long tail effect.
Okay.
And it highlights how the structure of social media platforms, with their algorithms and networks, can actually amplify these harmful messages.
So it's not just a matter of a few bad apples.
No.
It's about how social media itself can contribute to the spread of racism.
Yeah.
Even if that's not the intention.
Exactly. And the book gives specific examples of the kinds of jokes being used to target Black women. Often, they play on harmful stereotypes about their appearance, their behavior, or their place in society.
It's like they're trying to reduce these complex, multifaceted women to a single negative stereotype.
And it goes even deeper than that. The book also looks at the tactics used by white supremacists to control the narrative online.
Okay.
They're not just telling jokes.
Right.
They're actively trying to silence dissenting voices
Right.
and manipulate the conversation about race.
So how do they do that? What are some of the techniques they use?
Well, one common tactic is trying to shut down anyone who speaks out against racism. They'll harass them online, try to drown out their voices, or even report their accounts to get them banned.
It's like a digital version of trying to erase someone's voice
Yeah.
to make it so that they can't be heard.
Exactly. Another tactic is to discredit Black women's accomplishments.
Okay.
They might suggest that they only got where they are because of affirmative action, not because of their own talent or hard work.
It's a way to undermine their success
Yeah.
and perpetuate the myth that Black people are somehow less capable.
Right. And then there's the constant reinforcement of harmful stereotypes.
Right.
This is often done through sharing racist memes, images, and stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating an online environment where those racist ideas are constantly present
Yeah.
and normalized.
It's pretty chilling when you think about how coordinated and deliberate these efforts are.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the book doesn't leave us there.
No.
It also looks at the powerful ways that Black women are using social media to fight back against this hate.
And one of the most visible and inspiring ways they're doing that is by embracing Afro hairstyle
Okay.
as a symbol of identity and resistance.
Yes. I love that part of the book.
Yeah.
It's so empowering to see Black women celebrating their natural hair and challenging Eurocentric beauty standards.
It's a way of saying we define our own beauty. And social media has given them a platform to share their stories, connect with each other, and build a movement
Correct.
that celebrates Black beauty in all its forms.
It's like they're reclaiming their own narrative.
They are.
And refusing to be defined by the limited and often negative ways they've been portrayed in the past.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful strategies discussed in the book is the simple act of speaking out.
Okay.
and sharing personal experiences with racism.
It seems so basic,
It does, yeah.
but it can be so powerful to break the silence and make these invisible experiences visible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It challenges that myth of racial democracy by showing people the reality of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets other Black women know that they're not alone in their experiences.
It's about creating a sense of community and solidarity,
It is.
which is so important when you're facing something as insidious as racism.
And it also educates others about the ways in which racism manifests itself.
Yeah.
It helps to raise awareness and challenge those ingrained assumptions that often perpetuate prejudice.
It's like shining a light on those dark corners of society where racism tends to hide.
And the book also talks about the importance of using legal action to fight online racism, doesn't it?
It does. Trindade argues that legal action can be a powerful way to hold perpetrators accountable and send a message that this kind of behavior won't be tolerated.
But there's often this idea that the internet is a kind of lawless frontier.
Right.
Where people can say anything they want without consequence.
Right. But the book pushes back against that idea. It argues that we need to challenge that perception of anonymity.
And make it clear that online actions have real-world consequences.
So it's about using the legal system to reinforce the idea that hate speech is not acceptable,
Right.
whether it's online or offline.
Exactly. And the book suggests that legal action isn't just about punishing the offender.
Okay.
It's about sending a broader message to society that racism is a serious offense.
And hopefully that will deter others from engaging in similar behavior in the future.
That's the goal. And social media can actually play a role in that
Oh.
by raising awareness about these legal mechanisms
Oh.
and encouraging people to report instances of online racism.
It's like using social media to fight back against social media,
Yeah.
turning the platform into a tool for justice and accountability.
Exactly. But the book also acknowledges that legal action is not without its challenges.
What are some of the obstacles Trindade points out?
One of the biggest challenges is the slow response time of social media platforms.
Okay.
The book gives examples of cases where it took Facebook days or even weeks to remove racist content after it was reported.
And during that time, the damage is already done.
Right.
The post has already been shared and seen by countless people.
Right. And even when a post is taken down, there are often loopholes that allow individuals to create new accounts or communities and continue spreading the same hateful messages.
It's like playing a never-ending game of whack-a-mole.
And another issue is that the guidelines about what constitutes hate speech are often vague and inconsistent across platforms.
So it's hard to hold people accountable when the rules themselves are unclear.
Exactly. And that ambiguity often puts the burden on the victims of racism to police the content themselves,
Right.
which can be incredibly emotionally draining.
It shouldn't be the responsibility of the person being harassed to constantly report and monitor for abuse.
Right.
It's like they're being victimized twice.
I agree. The book stresses the need for social media companies to take a more proactive approach. They need to develop clearer guidelines, invest in better content moderation systems, and take swift action against those who engage in hate speech.
It's about creating a digital environment where racism isn't just condemned,
Right.
but actively combated.
Exactly. Black women and all users deserve to feel safe and empowered to express themselves online without fear of harassment or abuse.
It's clear that social media is this complex space where old power dynamics are being replicated, but also challenged in new and interesting ways. It's like a microcosm of the larger societal struggles we're facing.
And the book doesn't shy away from that complexity.
Yeah.
Trindade's conclusion really makes you think about how technology, race, and power intersect in the digital age.
What are some of the key takeaways he leaves us with?
Well, he emphasizes that despite the myth of racial democracy, racism is still a very real problem in Brazil. And social media has become this powerful platform for its expression, often disguised as humor.
It's like the internet has given a megaphone to racist ideas,
Yeah.
allowing them to spread further and faster than ever before.
And he reminds us that those seemingly harmless jokes have real-world consequences.
Yeah.
They contribute to a culture of discrimination and limit opportunities for Black women in Brazil.
It's a powerful reminder that words have power and that even humor can be used as a weapon to perpetuate harmful ideologies.
And Trindade ends with a call to action. He urges us to challenge racist discourse wherever we encounter it, both online and offline.
It's about refusing to be silent and actively working to create a more just and equitable world.
It's like we're at this crossroads, not just in Brazil, but globally, where we have to really grapple with these issues of race and technology. Social media has this power to amplify existing inequalities, but it's also giving people tools to fight back and push for change.
It's a really interesting tension.
It is. No laughing matter doesn't give us easy answers, but it does leave us with some, really thought-provoking questions.
Okay. Like what?
Well, given Brazil's history and the persistence of racism, can any kind of race-based humor ever truly be harmless?
It's such a tough question.
It is.
It's easy to dismiss jokes as just jokes. But Trendate's work really shows how they can reinforce harmful stereotypes and contribute to a culture where prejudice thrives. It makes you think twice about what you laugh at, doesn't it?
It really does. Even if the intention isn't malicious, the impact can be incredibly damaging, especially when those jokes are circulating in a society that's already struggling with, deep-seated racial inequalities.
It makes you realize that we all have a responsibility to be more mindful of the language we use.
Yes.
And the assumptions baked into even casual humor.
Right.
What might seem like a harmless joke to one person could be really hurtful to another.
Absolutely. And I think that's something we need to be aware of, not just in Brazil, but everywhere.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been focused on a specific context, but these themes resonate far beyond Brazil's borders. We all need to be more critical of the media we consume and the language we use, both online and offline.
It's a reminder that words have power and that we can all play a role in creating a more just and inclusive world. And it starts with paying attention to the words we choose.
Right.
And the messages they send.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been eye-opening, challenging,
Yeah.
and ultimately, I think, hopeful. We've seen the dark side of humor and social media, but we've also seen the resilience of those fighting for change and the potential for a better future.
I agree. It's inspiring to see how people are using social media to challenge the status quo
Oh, yeah.
and create spaces where everyone feels seen, heard, and respected. And no laughing matter is just the starting point for a much larger conversation.
Right.
If this deep dive has piqued your interest, I encourage you to check out the full book
Okay.
and explore other resources that delve deeper into Brazilian race relations. There's so much more to learn and unpack.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope you'll keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a more just and equitable world. Until next time.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. I guess one thing I'm left wondering is, where do we go from here? How can we be more aware of the ways in which humor, especially online, can be used to perpetuate harmful stereotypes?
Well, I think a good starting point is to just, be more critical of the jokes we hear and the memes we share. Ask yourself, who's the target of this joke? And what message is it really sending?
It's like, are we laughing with someone or are we laughing at them?
Exactly. And if a joke relies on punching down at a marginalized group, it might be time to rethink whether it's really that funny.
Because even if it's not intended to be malicious, the impact can still be harmful.
Right. Absolutely. Words have power, and even seemingly harmless jokes can contribute to a culture of prejudice and discrimination.
It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to be more thoughtful about the language we use and the messages we're sending, whether we're online or offline. I think that's a great takeaway from this deep dive. And, it's not just about being politically correct.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that words can have a real impact on people's lives and that we have a responsibility to use them wisely.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good note to end on. This deep dive has been fascinating, and I've learned a lot. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope you'll keep exploring these issues and join us again for another deep dive soon. Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a more just and equitable world.